I will talk about compliance checker. We have a new version. For those who don't know what compliance checker is, this is a system that enables a company to be compliant with those regulations related to narcotics, psychotropic drugs, how to handle them, store them, purchase them, all these aspects to be compliant with all these regulations. Today I talk about the new version we released. We decided to change the technology behind compliance checker, and we released 1.0 of this new version in the middle of April. And we use different new technologies like MongoDB and RESTful web service. We changed the original SOAP web service. We developed a powerful API that can be used for easy integration into systems like ELN or inventory or processes like purchasing compounds, and which was one of the main aspects why we did this. This is now 60 times faster than the original web service. So for those who need quick check of compounds in a, for example, registration workflow to integrate now, this is possible. And at the same time, we redesigned the user interface, so there's no desktop software anymore because we have a powerful user interface to use for a single check purpose or a batch check purpose, as the next videos will show. So I just created, because that's the quickest, I created some videos to walk through about this, the new features. So as you log in, which is integrated with LDAP or Active Directory, whatever, you land in the single check page. Here you can enter any format that the Marvin IO understands. So for example, a name, but of course there is the Marvin.js integrated, so you can draw your structure, input structure if you want. And then you can select from the countries. I will talk about that later, but you can immediately click against all the legislations. And as you can see, there is a direct link to the legislation to see what was controlled by what was regulated, and additional information available, like there is detail why this specific rule matched your compound, and also there's a hit highlight now and some details from the legislation why this compound was a hit by that legislation. And you can dynamically switch on and off the output fields. For example, you can switch on the what is controlled part, and then in this case the specific section of the legislation is shown, like all the derivatives, all the salt forms are controlled as well. And those, of course, some additional data like case number and DEA number is available. You can generate a report if you find with the results in these different formats, and you can store it or send it according to your SOP. It's depending on the different browsers. All major browsers are supported. It lands, for example, in Chrome to the bottom left. You can open and walk through your report. Let's see what to do if you want to select from the categories. So we have some predefined countries. You can quickly add them, and in this case, the check will run against only these countries. So as you can see, TNT is not controlled in Austria, Canada, and Denmark. Surprise. But if you add Germany, you see, then immediately as a chemical weapon, it is shown that in Germany you cannot really store it. So this is just an example. I will show in an administration snapshot that you can create your own levels, check levels, and if you created, like in this case, there is a clone of Spain, and there is a UK own regulations, only UK rules are there, and then if you use that specific category group or level, then it will list only those regulations which are relevant for that specific level. Okay, so jump to the next is the batch check. So you can upload files. Now I upload the original Pistoia set of compounds. I will talk about this at the accuracy side, and all those countries that were included in that competition. And now I say that I want to generate rather than HTML than a PDF, so I can do that. And then I just check that now the controlled substances, only the controlled and the arrow compounds will be included. As you can see, it immediately starts, and you can kill the job if you want, but you can see the progress. In the meantime, while it's doing, I just show that how a detailed report summary can be seen in the history. So it's, for example, this is Maybridge 50,000 compounds that was finished in 10 minutes. And if you want to generate additional reports from a previous run, you can do this here. I can check an earlier run of this Pistoia set. You see there are 3 different reports available. I could download a PDF with the direct link. Again, it's on the bottom left. And then I can see. So this is a kind of history to see all your previous results. The links even in a PDF is live, of course. So you can, even from the PDF, you can go directly to the original legislation. As you can see, it's just finished the HTML generation. So it took 22 seconds, and the report is there. So yes, it includes all these data which was selected, and also shows you the target countries and the link to the legislation. So just a few words about the administration page. So you have a lot of different options there, like updating the database or monitoring your services. But this one shows how to create your specific level. So this one, the UK only contains only the UK own regulations. We have an API, as I mentioned, with good examples. So if you want to test it, you can see for the integration. It's very easy to integrate into any proprietary system. The performance, just 2 data here. So we have, in general, on a medium type Amazon server, 100 compounds per second for checking against all the legislations. And the scale up is very good. It's linear with the performance of the computation server and also the number of servers behind. So it's a distributed, very well scaling system. And the accuracy, this slide shows the result from the Pistoia blind set. So you can see it was almost 100% for all of these countries. Actually, we won that competition, although by a little margin against Sitegrity, but this proves the accuracy. And the coverage, I don't stop. Here we have some international regulations and predefined countries. And just finally, about the roadmap, I don't want to tell the specific implementation of further features, just want to emphasize that we will integrate this to several systems like Plexus, compound registration. And then after those, the pay-per-view services is the next major point, to make it available for those who has not enough money to globally buy it and internally install. And finally, the hosted solutions is on the roadmap. And thank you for Petcore for the accuracy, and they are still updating the database regularly. They are very good at that, and we are very proud of the accuracy, and of course the current development team. So thank you, and I'm open for questions.
Quite recently in Europe, some legislation was released where a whole list of substances were not per se forbidden to have, but you had to give reports on a regular basis on how much of that you have. I think for that you would need an integration with compound registration programs. Will this also be provided?
We are discussing the integration into compound registration with Java. So there are 2 different levels of integration. One is that it can be included in the workflow, so it lands in the staging area if it is controlled, if something is found in your level. But you are asking about the amount. So it's, of course, we are checking only the structure. So the regulation shows the specific element of the regulations for that rule shows you if there's extra information, like under or over 100 milligrams, it's controlled. Otherwise, it's not. Things like that. So currently, the system is not combined with like inventory storage or something like that. It's just structural, superstructural match.
I'm sorry, does current implementation check also the tautomeric structure of controlled substances?
Yes, I mean the rules. So in superstructure search, there's no way to do tautomer search. So therefore, the rules are formulated with doing all the aspects of tautomerization of that query. Okay, so we are doing superstructure search, and in superstructure search, it can be ambiguous if the tautomerization. But in general, if there are sometimes 4 or 5 rules to cover that aspects with the different tautomeric forms drawn in. Currently, it's something that would be a point of improvement for automatically do that. But during the legislation rule extraction, these rules are taking care of the tautomers.